Hey everybody, it's Justin, aka Retro Rhythms. This is my first time doing a live YouTube video, so bear with me. And it's on the spur of the moment, so I'm not expecting much from it. It'll be trial and error with lighting and different things like that. But I figured since I was thinking about different parts of my collection. As many of you know, I'm an avid record collector and video collector, of course. One part of my collection that I haven't explored as much, but that kind of built up gradually over the years is my magazine collection. And of course, by and large, these are music related magazines. And as a kid, I used to buy them at the grocery store or 7-Eleven. Not so much 7-Eleven, more like grocery stores used to have tons of magazines, all kinds of music mags. And, it's become such a rarity these days with print magazines. Most of the sections, if you find them in a grocery store or the like, are very small. If you do have a Barnes and Noble near you, usually they have a really nice section. But, there's just not as much variety anymore because so many magazines are strictly digital. So I have a box here of some magazines. It's kind of they're organized alphabetically. I don't know if I'm going to go through every single one, but they do span like the 70s, which were ones I got later because I wasn't of age at that point to even get magazines. I was a little bitty baby, seriously, in the late 70s. Um, but then the 80s were and 90s where I did buy them as a child and a teenager. And some of you may know also this is kind of relevant to me because from 1992 to 1996 I published my own music magazine called The Hip Key, and that was a great experience, and you can find out some about that on my channel. But let me not digress any further and just start. This is a random assortment. So this first one in the box is from September of 1999. Sorry about that glare. This is one of the things I'm going to have to try to figure out with the camera here because my lighting is a little bit off. There we go. That's better. So Wilson Cruz on the cover, he had gained fame from My So-Called Life, but had, I believe, come out near this time. And this was relevant to me because I was in college at the time and come out shortly before this time myself. So really nice cover there. And then going forward, over 10 years, there was this special edition of The Advocate that was done to celebrate Madonna's Celebration collection. And interesting that this one came up because right now I am actually reading Craig David's, I don't know if you want to call it a memoir. It's called What's Your Vibe? But he talks a lot about the difficulty he had when he moved from the UK to Miami and became very obsessed with fitness. And this was right around the time that he first got very into that kick. This is Attitude magazine. This is the active portion. I don't know if they still do this. It's like a fitness geared one, but really nice pictures in it because this is before it got real more extreme with it. But at the time, it was kind of a new buff look for him. This is when he did his Signed, Sealed, Delivered album of mostly Motown covers. And then another Attitude Active, which was when I got retroactively because I didn't become a JLS fan until a little bit after they had been, successful. Because of course, here in the United States, their product wasn't released very regularly at the time that they were kind of in their prime after being runners up on the X Factor. But here we go to some retro ones, and this one I can actually take out easily of the pocket because it's not sealed up. So this is cool because this one I do remember pretty sure because a few of them I did get later, but getting when I was a kid. This is an issue of Black Beat magazine from August 1988, and I'm sure that some of my viewers and subscribers will be very familiar with this magazine. You can see on the side here that there are features on LL Cool J, who's featured on the cover, Run DMC, Jody Watley, Prince, Freddie Jackson, Dougie Fresh, Terrence Trent D'Arby, Rebe Jackson, whom I've interviewed, and you can check out some of that on my channel. Jermaine Stewart, late great Jermaine Stewart, Albie Shore, and MC Light. And so, yeah, there's the Prince on Tour little blurb at the top. So let me just put this back because I'm trying to put these in a way that I won't have to scatter them all over afterwards. So here's another Black Beat magazine, which I'll go ahead and say try to open. I don't know, the glare. This one a little bit later, October 1991. So by this time I kind of had been purchasing them regularly. And I wanted to say hi to Trust in Christ. I see you over there. This is my first time doing live videos. I mentioned at the beginning, which I'm not sure if you were on, but being that I'm showing so much, I don't know. I turned on the chat, but hopefully I'll get to interact at some point. But so yeah, you saw Black Bee. Yes, I believe that there's some Ride-On coming in a little bit. I have some. And then thank you for saying hi to Chester, who's in the background over there. So this one had Belle Biv DeVoe, LL Cool J, Salt and Pepper, Ralph Trevant, Heavy D, Color Me Bad, Paula Abdul, Wesley Snipes, Yo-Yo, Small Change, and Damian Dame. Small Change right up my alley of the kinds of stuff I put on my channel, even though I don't have anything, I don't think, of them on my channel. Short-lived family group, I believe cousins, two sets of cousins, I think, or two sets of siblings that were cousins, I think, 2 females and 2 males, Y, Teardrops, and This Must Be Love in 1991. They were on Mercury, I believe. And then another Black Beat magazine here. This one I can open up because it's got a big glare on it. So I love this. I just love the colorful presentation of these magazines. I mean, they really, anything today pales in comparison that I've seen. This is from May of '92. And it's also got features on Bobby Brown and again LL Cool J, as well as Ex-Girlfriend. Now, I don't have Ex-Girlfriend specifically on my channel, but I do have Petite, which was sort of an earlier incarnation of the group Sense, Stacey Francis. So anyway, let's see if I can pull out. Okay, just look inside a little bit. Change from MC Brains, remember him, Uchi Kuchi. And everybody's talking about MC Brains, which was my favorite. And then cool retro commercial there, NX4 Flyware. So, and there's a little feature on Michael, MJ. So Black Beat was definitely a favorite of mine. It was very different than the magazine I ended up doing myself, but I'm sure it provided some inspiration in one way or another. And here's another Black Beat. It's funny. There's a lot of repetition. I don't know if it's coincidence or if it's I don't remember. It's been so long, obviously, since I got these. If it had to do more with my obsession with some of these artists, I'm not really a rap head, but LL Cool J was quite someone I was enamored of as a kid, and I still enjoy his music a lot, but I will definitely say it was more than the music at the time that piqued my interest. Portrait is featured in this one. Eddie Murphy, Jade, Run DMC again, Jungle Brothers, Vesta, Nick Scotty. That's interesting that he's in that one. Remember him from Kiss Me Guido, the movie. Misha Paris, and Yo-Yo again. So here's an ad on the back for, I guess, the Machine brand. And speaking of Nick, there he is. Nice pic there. Little ad there for African Pride products. And then here's Miss Janet. And there's a color photo of her, poster, little pinup poster. I do have a few pinups still. I used to put a lot in my room growing up. Tend to have more framed, larger posters now, but still cool to kind of come across those. And then another Black Beat, this time with Johnny Gill, Crisscross, and BBD again. This must be 93, I'm thinking, because, that's a picture from their second album. And Shantae Moore featured in that one. Let's see. Now, this is kind of cool. When I was growing up in southeastern Virginia, I used to frequent a local record shop called Pooney's, Black-owned. Pooney was the nickname of the owner, Paul. um, and the lady Alice there that worked there for years and years, who I adore so much. Anyway, Black Radio exclusive. I think it's still around. The owner, the founder of that, passed away just a couple years ago. But great industry magazine. Kind of not like a billboard, but keeping up with all the black music scene, radio reports and whatnot. Mostly in black and white, but this is cool because she is definitely on my channel, Miss Letitia. You can hear "Move on You," which I think is the single that was promoted in here on my channel, and see her video for "It Just Ain't Easy" when she moved over to Motown. It was produced by Gene Griffin, the former production partner of Teddy Riley. But yeah, 783. Some of you might remember them. They're on the cover of that one. So let's see here. And then I gotta take this out because this is one of my very favorite artists that she knows. But Angie Irons, aka Angie. So this was 89 as well, from the time of her debut album On a Mission, which included the great singles If She Knew, Heart Donor, and Love's Here, and Good Girls Wear Black, which she is doing here. Is out on the back here for James Ingram's album with It's Real on it. Yeah, I guess that's the name of the album, It's Real, which had his song that ended up being such a huge hit, I Don't Have the Heart. Ironically, his album came out like just a little bit before Stacey Ladislaw's What You Need, that had her version, but her version was released as a single first. It's a much different version, but it's on my YouTube channel, a live performance of it, which is fabulous. It's a very different arrangement. I think Lamel Humes produced it, much more R&B version than James' pop version, but I really just love that performance to this day. And then there was one with Belle Biv DeVoe gracing the front cover from 91. And then this magazine is one that I don't have as many of, and I don't remember seeing as often, but Black Sounds. Okay, so Run DMC, Prince, Club Nouveau, Sheila E., Lisa Lisa, and Colt Gem, Melba Moore, Aretha Franklin, Starpoint covered in this one. We got a little back cover pinup of Cameo. And let's see, we've got Full Force there. Who else? I'm trying to look for the cover ones. Oh, well, this is kind of cool. We got a little collage with Melissa Morgan, Prince, Sherelle, Luther, Anita. I think that's it. Anita Baker. Yeah. And then a little print spread there. I don't know much about this magazine. Honestly, it's one of those that I'd kind of forgotten about, so I started organizing my collection some years later. I think I have one other issue somewhere, but it's not here at the moment. Now, this is one that I got at a record show, I believe, because this is a little bit before the time that I would be of age to be buying magazines or going and seeking them out. The Black Stars, including Evelyn Champagne King, the very sweet, very kind, very talented, as well as Frida Payne, Demond Wilson, so, from Sanford and Son, the Sun. Let's see, take a look inside and see if I can find anything that's easy to see, to show. Here's the little article, The Queen of Disco is a King. I'm going to have to let some of these people know afterwards about this in case they haven't seen some of these. If any of you are connected with them on social media too, and feel free to let them know. The great Ashford Simpson. Oh, and there's a little subscription card for Jet. I guess it was affiliated with, I guess they must have started Black Stars magazine. That would make sense. I haven't looked at who published it. Yeah, Johnson Publishing Company. So I never even looked at that part before to see that. But Donna Summer, one of my very first favorites, all-time favorites. And I wrote a tribute to her after her passing in 2012. No words can express. Now, this is just something kind of random, Blue Jean magazine from Germany. I'm sorry. I believe this is from Russia. gosh, I don't even know. Anyway, I just got it because I'm a fan of Hadaway. This is something I collected more recently. And then I'll just show these a little bit quickly because a lot of them. Blues and Soul magazine with Bonnie Pointer, which I did liner notes for one of her reissues. Rest in peace. There's one with the great Stephanie Mills. Hi, Madden Gamer, if you're still there. I just saw the message. Thanks for joining in. Curtis Blow, and then Ruby Turner's featured in this one. And I interviewed her a few years ago for a 2 CD set by Soul Music Records called Living a Life of Love, the Jive Anthology. Pleasure to speak to, and I got to actually produce that compilation, which is wonderful. Check that out if you're a fan. And then here's one with Billy Ocean, someone else I had the privilege of interviewing, writing up a couple times, meeting in person. Now, Joyce Sims here. I mean, I think what a shock to so many of us this year. I had just talked to her, I'm sorry, last year. I just talked to her last June, shortly before she was going to put out her remake of What You Won't Do for Love, which did come out. And I think it was it September or October that she passed away. And I mean, she sounded fine when I had spoken with her, and she said she looked forward to meeting again. I met her. I interviewed her back in 2012 for an older version of the soulmusic.com website, and had gotten to meet her shortly after when I went on a trip to New York. Very sweet lady. One of the things I always remember about in that interview was talking with her about the fact that Randy Crawford had remade Come Into My Life and how cool that was. So she's very missed. I still don't know what the cause was. This here is Miss Minnie Curry. So she had a wonderful song out in '87 called I Think I'm Over You on Total Experience Records. If you don't know that and you're a subscriber, check it out because I think you might like it. But her album was actually only released overseas, but the single came out here. I think it was kind of towards the end of Total Experience's big run here. The great Monty Moyer and Stephen Dante here, I think. Yeah, Monty Moyer, who's, from the time and written songs like Only a Breath Away by Patty Austin, All I Need by Denise Williams. I'm blanking out. Ruby Turner's In My Life, It's Better to Be in Love. So there's one with Misha Paris and one with George Benson. And here's another one with Bootsy on the cover. And here, Miss Jody Watley on this one from '89, also featuring Bobby Humphrey. And here's another Jody one, which is kind of cool because it's from the Flower era, which, is kind of an interesting part of her career because the album ultimately was canceled in the U.S. It was released in Japan and I think to some degree in Europe, I'm not sure. But the singles Off the Hook and If I'm Not in Love were released in the States. But, she had a whole kind of ordeal with that because she had been signed to Big Beat Records, subsidiary of Atlantic, to do a dance album. And then I don't remember if they folded then or what, but then she was not directly on Atlantic and did, more of an R&B album. But on my channel, a wonderful performance of hers of a very striking ballad from that album called Just One More Time. You should check that out. It shows a vocal side of her that you don't see a lot. So there's Montel Jordan in there. So good memories of '98 when I look at this. I was in college then at Berkeley up in Boston. And, I was exploring a lot of music that I hadn't explored before, but it was always cool when someone like Jody would reappear after a lot of time away because after she left MCA in the mid-'90s, she had an album called Affection in the mid-'90s in '95, which you can see a performance from on my channel as well. But, she was kind of out of the spotlight for a while. So, yes, and Trusting Christ, Stephen Dante was on the Jolly Bean album, The Real Thing was the song. Matt Cedeno, Burn Magazine, Fitness Magazine. I fitness is very important to me, but it's not like I'm some guru. But every once in a while, I've added those to my collection. I can't remember what soap opera he was on at the time. Now, this magazine is really cool, very boutique kind of magazine called Daida. I think I'm pronouncing it right. I cannot remember the name of the gentleman that ran it. I don't know if he's still doing it. It was just occasionally. They're very voluptuous magazines, very high quality production. I got them a couple through the mail from him about 10 years ago. So you can see the feature on Dion. Always really beautiful photography and these. By the way, the Dion Work Archive channel is awesome. And then there's a nice spread of her there. And I'm really happy to see her new duet with Dolly Parton, that she is still going at it. It's such a cool combination. There's a feature here on Leslie Gore, who passed away a few years later. So yeah, this is a really very nicely done magazine, Daida. And I think I've got one more here, if you're into disco, that you can appreciate. So let me just put this one back. And I'll do that later because that's kind of hard and I don't want to mess it up. So we have Claudia Berry here, of, depending on what era you know her from, Boogie Woogie Dancing Shoes, Dancing Fever, Work Me Over. What is that one from the 87 album? They'll come to me. I know Secret Affair, but there's another one that was kind of popular that I can't think of. Anyway, and then Chris Clark from Motown. Let's see if there's any nice pictures of Claudia in here. Can't find them right now, so we'll skip that for now. A magazine from overseas, Disco 45, with a very young Billy Ocean from his Love Really Hurts Without You era. And then Disco World magazine with Dr. Buzzard's original Savannah Band on the cover. This is a cool Disco World one. The late, great Vicki Sue Robinson. Gosh, talk about someone who left us too early. Wish I got to interview her. I did write a tribute to her in Berkeley's student newspaper, The Groove, when she passed in 2000. I love her music. Very underrated vocalist. And here's something on DC LaRue in here. Another great disco artist. There's a piece on the Tramps, and let's see. Now this very youth-oriented magazine, which I often would get. Actually, I mainly got through, I believe, the Troll Book Club. I don't know if some of you guys in my age range, when you were in elementary school, had that, but you could order magazines from there too. So Dynamite magazine was one that I would have different pinups from on my wall on occasion. But Jasmine Guy on here from the A Different World era. And funny to see this of Candace Cameron after seeing her in so many Hallmark holiday movies in recent years. I really wasn't all that familiar with her stuff, but kind of neat. Now this is, I guess, kind of a short-lived spinoff of Ebony called Ebony Man. This was something I got later because I'm such a big Billy Ocean fan, and I probably got it on eBay or something, but thought it was cool that Billy was featured on it. Very nice picture of him there. And then, so this magazine, another one of those very colorful ones, in line with Black Beat and Right On. This one, I think I have some more in another box, but for right now, this is called Full Effect. So you can see CNC Music Factory, Mariah Carey, Paula Abdul, Marky Mark, Queen Latifah, MC Hammer on the front. It's a really nice pic of Mariah there on the back. And how could I miss the one and only Vanilla Ice? Let's see. Kid and Play. Main one I was into when I was a kid of theirs was their kind of remake of Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody, or based on the Brick song Queen Latifah. It's gone on to so many wonderful things. Rhythm Syndicate. You might remember Passion, but notably Evan Rogers and Carl Sturken. Gosh, written and produced so many people like from before Rhythm Syndicate in the '80s, like Evelyn Champagne King. Gosh, I don't know, I can't even think. But then of course Rihanna, like everyone under the sun in pop and R&B over like 3 decades. There's a Young MC and Seal, kind of early Seal there. And there's a nice Tevin Campbell pinup. And the one and only Marky Mark. So a lot of versatility, and I love that. I mean, some of these magazines, it's so cool because even though things were more segmented in some ways, sometimes there was in these magazines just such a smorgasbord of coverage. And just give me a few minutes, Chester. I'm just showing some magazines on the computer. It's my bird, Chester. This was a sweet gesture, a gift from my best friend Rob. He met Jody at a club event or signing or album. I don't know because the album never came out, but it was some pre-release party, I guess, for Flower, and she graciously signed this for me. And I had the honor of, speaking with her not in person or on the phone, but via email a number of times, and she has a love of birds as well, which we kind of connected over. And I sent her some collectible kind of things in the mail, and she was able to hook me up with something from her kind of limited releases that I had missed. So thank you, Jody. And also, I recently had put up a clip from a performance I did at the school I work at of the recording "It All Begins With You" that she produced and sang. And she left some nice feedback on that. As well as the one of Most of All that I did some years back. And then this HX magazine also did this one on Tracy Spencer, which this one I believe I don't know, Rob might have sent this one to me, but I might have picked it up when I first started visiting New York before I lived there. And I'm just reading the comments. Yes, Evan, the duet with Deatra Hicks, I forgot. That, of course, he did the duet with Evelyn Champagne King, Full-Time Lover, which is on my channel, which is from '85, off of his Love Games album. The single, it's funny because if you bought the 45, I mean, if you hear it, obviously, but her name's in tiny, tiny print. And then, see, I'm going to skip over some here. This one, just because I'm a fan, because I got this later, Honolulu magazine with Glenn Medeiros on the cover. Of course, George Benson had done Nothing's Gonna Change My Love for You First, which is where Glenn Medeiros performed it as Brown Bags of Stardom, which was a kind of competition there in Hawaii that kind of got him his deal, and then his version became, I would say, more famous around the world. I think George Benson's is very famous in certain countries, but I love his music. If you want to know more about him and my love for him, you can go on my Facebook music page and see the video testimonial I did. Or actually, I should say, I read an essay that I wrote in high school about him for my school's literary magazine. And him. So here we have Hot magazine, switching onto the pop side of things a while. Mark Paul Gosselaar, The Guys Next Door, TV show / band. And then, gosh, I don't even remember much of what's in here, but here's In Magazine. So I'll just kind of skip over some of those. Back in the fitness realm with Mr. LL Cool J. More LL Cool J. Music Choice magazine, which I'm sure, it's funny, I hadn't thought about this in a while, but must have been as a result of the Music Choice channels, which I still enjoy to this day on my cable. They just offer so much versatility. But I remember getting this at the Tower Records in Boston, which is long gone, of course, even before the Tower Records went out of business. But, such good times when I think about that, because 3 floors, top floor had like VHS and DVD and like jazz and world music. Second floor had the pop and R&B, like cassette singles, CD singles, 12 inches. The bottom floor, I don't remember at first like what the setup was, but it was just such a adventure to go there, and that's something that I really cherish and I'm glad I got the chance to do. Um, so here we have more recent Music Connection with Jason Derulo. Um, I like Music Connection magazine. I haven't kept up with it in a while, but honestly, I got this mainly because when I first kind of got back into the journalism after a long lull, Jason Derulo was one of the first kind of mainstream name pop artists that I interviewed, like right when he was becoming big. So, I kind of followed him a lot for quite a long time, even though, his stuff can be really gimmicky. But you can hear some of that interview on my channel as well. This is just like a new NKOTB tribute magazine for when they did their comeback. Um, this is kind of cool magazine that didn't last that long, Not On for Guys. And then here's Out magazine with Madonna on the cover. And I think that was in connection with a book that came out of photos from her early years. Now, this one I did get later. It's kind of a collector's item for me, just the People magazine with Madonna on it. I love that look there. And I know some people will say, well, you don't have to throw anything in, but I am sorry that she does not seem happy with how she looks. I'll just say that. Anyway, Prince Tribute Magazine. And okay, so here, let's write on. I don't know if you're still there, Question Christ, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, a lot. 7, 8, 9 Right On magazines. So Right On to Right On if you're still there. Anyway, it'll be fun in any case. This one I got later. There's the subscription cards in there. Right On is what's happening. Stoney Jackson. Now this is from 1980. It also has the SOS band in there. But it's funny because when I see this, my introduction to Stoney was on 227 in the last year, because after Jackie had tried to leave the show and do her own sitcom and it didn't work out, they just brought on like this big barrage of more actors, and it was kind of all over the place, but he was one of them. But since that time, later I saw a movie like from this period of time, Roller Boogie with Linda Blair, that he was in, and also one with Marla Gibbs that was done probably around the time in 227 ended, called Up Against the Wall, an independent film. Yeah, so I have a lot of write-ons here, so let me not go in depth to each one, but see if I can figure out this one. I got DeBarge on the cover, and it's funny because it says Michael Jackson, what's he been up to lately, and it just made me think of Janet's What Have You Done For Me Lately, which was several years later. Now this is a Right On calendar and pinup special. You can see actually, let me just open this since there's a different artist for every month, and this is falling apart, so I got to be really careful. There's the Michael one. Just peruse through. Jane Kennedy. It's funny, I think of her on a guest spot on 227 that she did too, that I really liked. So beautiful. And it's just I've seen her on, if you ever watch Buzzer Network, they show old game shows, and I've seen her on like Match Game Hollywood Squares. There's Mr. Ray Parker Jr., the multi-talented. Todd Bridges. Let's see if I can find one other one here. Oh, there's Brian Mitchell, who goes by Brian Stokes Mitchell, I think, in more recent years. I think he was also on an episode of 227 playing, I think it was him playing the husband of Vanessa. Is it Vanessa Bell Calloway, or am I getting the Vanessas mixed up? One of those, she was playing a pregnant friend. I love 227. There's something coming up about that. Another wonderful talent that we lost this past year, and someone who I was privileged to interview, Miss Irene Cara. And so this is March 84. June Pointer is also featured in this one. There's a little photo of her. I do have excerpts of the Irene Cara interview on my channel, and I also have a June Pointer song, which you might find very touching, called Put Your Dreams Where Your Heart Is, written by the great Jerry Stober and Dorothy C. Gaisley. There's a cool advert in there, Curl Confessions. Let's see. Here's what else? Oh, there's the Irene feature some nice pictures of her. All right. Gosh, I don't have a lot of cleaning to do after this. But it's cool because it's fun to share stuff like this. I don't do it very often. And oh gosh, I forgot to mention on there TK Carter of Punky Brewster fame and many other things, including Just Our Luck, if you've ever seen that sitcom. So here's one with, I love this one, Regina King and Curtis Baldwin on the cover. TV's hottest young couple. And, I love them because, that show is like, I love so many sitcoms from so many eras, but that one I grew up watching. I always say it's my favorite because it was just not pretentious. I mean, and even when they got later in the series and some of the storylines were kind of hokey, I just felt like with the actors and everything, the core cast, at least with Marla and Elena Reed, rest in peace, Helen Martin, rest in peace, Hal Williams, these guys, I mean, just really so just believable and just like human, I love that show and so many great people they had on there. And there's in this magazine a great picture of Stacey Lassaw, who I also hey Iron 5, how's it going? Good to see you. So yeah, I interviewed Stacey in 2010. Was very blessed. A gentleman who's no longer with us, named Larry Dennison, had kind of helped me coordinate that, and I went to her home to do the interview. She was just so gracious and charming. You can hear that on my channel and excerpts as well as the whole podcast on the Blog Talk Radio channel I have. So there's Mr. Baldwin. Now, I don't know if you know, with Curtis Baldwin, there's a music connection because several years after 227 ended, he was in a short-lived group called 123, spelled ONE, Roman numeral 2, the number 3. And they had a song called Let Me Write. I think the video is still on YouTube. But the funny thing to me was that I realized later there's a song they did on there, and I can't remember the names, but one or two of the other guys that were with him in that group were well-known producers and went on to produce some hip-hop and R&B. But they had a song called Anything that was really cool, and that was later covered by a singer named Jay Quest, who released it as a single. But I think the 123 version is the best. And said Trust in Christ is saying the June Porter favorite became a favorite of mine. Yes, Worlds Away by Nadine Renee. Yeah, that was another one I put up when I did a tribute to my late cockatiel darling. Thank you. I'm glad you liked that. New edition there, Sans Bobby, and I guess, well, I don't know. This is before Johnny, I guess. Because this is 87, so yeah, it was right before he joined the group. So there's one with Lisa and Cult Jam. I've been hearing about this new incarnation of Cult Jam without Lisa, so that's kind of interesting. I haven't heard the new recording yet, though. And then speaking of new edition, Sans Bobby Brown, there he is there in this issue right on, as well as Ice Cube. Iron 5, about Curtis Baldwin being a singer. I know, and I'm not even sure how many of the vocals he did, or as far as instruments, because they only had like one video, which I didn't see till eons later on YouTube. But it's a good album. Check it out. It's called Whole New Head is the name of the album. And there's Mary J. Blige, an early picture of her. That's kind of cool. Now, this right on is with Janet. I always like this picture. I mean, I know she's got a lot of makeup on, and probably not a lot of people's favorite look of hers, but I just thought that was a cool picture for some reason. Just very different. And there's H-Town, Naughty by Nature, Jodeci, LL again, Shy. Here's a Rolling Stone that was done when Madonna put out the Celebration double LP. That's their tribute to Whitney. Sweetie. There's a really cool one coming up, by the way. This I don't have a lot of these, but Sister to Sister. Obviously, this is from when Tank had his debut album. By the way, it seems like Blackground is releasing on vinyl his first 3 albums shortly. I do have the original pressing of the Force of Nature album, which I think is kind of rare, but they're putting that out on vinyl soon, as well as I think One Man and Sex, Love, and Pain. But anyway, yeah, and there's Faith there, and so yeah. Now this one is really cool. This one I got at a record show, and I just was so plumb about it. It's a Prince cover of a magazine called Soul Teen, which I've heard some allusion to at different times, but I don't know a whole lot about it. I have one more Soul Teen here. But there's the Jacksons. Some ads in there. LTD, the Jeffrey Osborne, Pleasure, very underrated band. Shotgun Rufus, and let's see who else. There's a lot of ads in here, actually. Interesting to see these ads. There's a lot of hair ads in there as well. But yeah, I just thought that cover was really cool with Prince. And I remember when I found that, I said, that's got to be something I add to the collection. The other Soul Teen magazine that I have here is this one, with Lionel Richie. And this is from March of 83, so a little bit later. That other one was March of 80. And yeah, I know. Well, I'm lucky, Iron 5, that the house I grew up in, we had a room where we could kind of store a lot of extra stuff like this because, I had not touched a lot of it for a long time. And then when I don't know, just through different moves, and especially when my parents moved out, I got that all together and, kind of archived it more properly. And it is nice because it's reference points for a lot of artists that didn't get a lot of exposure or promotion. And let's see, I'm going to skip a few here. Here's one called Street Sound. That's MK and Alana Mark Kinchen. A lot of production and R&B dance through the years, still a factor. And then Tell magazine, I don't remember much about that other than that I was on a Marky Mark kick. Got it. Upskill magazine, which is still published. This one's from, July 2006. Wow, 17 years ago. That sounds weird to say 2006 is 17 years ago. I remember when 2006 came around because I think I was getting ready to go to a Madonna concert and it said it on the shirt. I was like, wow, it's already 2006. Uptown magazine, which I don't believe is published anymore. This is probably during the later time of it because this is 2014 when Lenny Kravitz was putting out his Strut album. This is Us magazine with the real Whitney Houston. Wax Poetics. This is the issue that I had the honor of being featured in. I did an article on Billy Ocean, which kind of emanated from an earlier interview I did with him for several online outlets, and also utilized for liner notes, which I did of a reissue of his awesome Inner Feelings album from '82, Pre-Caribbean Queen. Definitely check that out if you like soulful, funky stuff that's a little bit less commercial pop than his biggest hits. But that article is featured in here. Really nice guy. I got to meet him in person. And then this magazine is another one of those 80s R&B type magazines that I don't know a whole lot about, but I have a couple issues of. It's called What's Hot. You can see Club Nouveau on the cover of that magazine issue. And let's see here. Got a little feature on the Fat Boys there. And another Stacey Ladislaw feature. Iron 5, which magazine were you referring to? Were you referring to, I don't know which, I missed, sorry, which one you were referring to. There's Claudia Berry. This might say the song that I was trying to think of earlier that I can't. Something about Down and Counting. That's the one I was trying to think of. So, yeah. There's a, oops, I gotta be careful with these because I don't know how well to go there. There's Oh, you're talking about Wax Poetics magazine. Yeah. I don't know if they still do print issues. I think they might do special ones once in a while. But I know they had kind of, about 7 or 8 years ago, ran into some financial difficulties and weren't doing as many print issues. But they might once in a while. But um, maybe check their website and see, because I'm not 100% sure about that. Um, and then this other What's Hot with Howard Hewitt. I had actually recently written a review for Soul Tracks, which is the site I've been writing for over a decade now, of a Howard Hewitt box set that Soul Music Records put out of all of his Electra albums, which I really recommend. If you go to soultracks.com and search Howard Hewitt, you can read about it. There's some cool stuff on there, like kind of rare duet he did with Roberta Flack, called Let Me Be the Light, produced by Deborah McDuffie. Here, this is cool. You can see the reviews of like Diana Ross's Red Hot Rhythm and Blues, Regina Bell's All by Myself. And then there's an article on Stephanie Mills. So, an expose, kind of a split cover fold out there. I guess you could tear apart the magazine and put it up, but I don't want to do that. But we're at the 45-minute mark, so I'm going to close here. This has been fun. Thank you to those who joined me, and I think it'll be available to watch retroactively. I just have to get a few things sorted out and set that up. But I appreciate all of the subscriptions and enthusiasm and comments over the years, because it's been close to 15 years now that I've been doing retro rhythms, and it's been a great opportunity to so many ways I could go on about that. But thanks for joining me today, and I hope you guys have a great day, and maybe we can do this again sometime. All right. And yes, I will try. It is hard sometimes with certain things, but I've been meaning to do it for a while. So the hardest part for me is to try to schedule it ahead. So I just finally decided to go ahead and do it off the cuff this time. All right. Take care, everybody. Peace.